When you start thinking about a NAS, the first thing that worries most of us isn't the glossy spec sheet, it's whether the box will actually fit into our daily workflow without turning into a headache you have to keep feeding with tinkering. You want something that just works, that you can set up once and forget about, that won't eat up your budget while promising the moon. That's the exact place where a lot of buyers trip up. They get dazzled by a 10-core or DDR5 and end up with a machine that either overdelivers on paper, but underdelivers when you try to stream a family video, or worse, a unit that needs constant firmware juggling just to keep a single hard drive online. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the past few weeks digging through the official specs, watching a handful of tech channels that actually put the TERRAMASTER F6424MAX through a real-world test, and reading the few user comments that exist for this model. The consensus is clear: this is a solid, mid-range NAS that tries to strike a balance between raw power and affordable expandability, but it isn't a universal solution. First, let's talk about the category itself. A 6bay NAS sits in a sweet spot for home offices and small creative studios. It gives you enough drives to create a RAID 5 array for redundancy, while still leaving a couple of bays free for hot spare or separate archival drives. The biggest practical question is whether you need the 10-core processor and DDR5 memory for your workload. If your daily routine is backing up work documents, streaming a Plex library, and occasionally running a lightweight Docker container for a home automation hub, you probably won't feel the need for a heavyweight CPU. On the other hand, if you plan to transcode 4K video on the fly, run multiple virtual machines, or host a busy GIT server with many concurrent builds, that extra compute headroom can actually be the difference between a smooth experience and constant buffering. The F6424MAX ships Diskless, which can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you look at it. On the positive side, you get to choose exactly which drives you trust: brand new WD Red or Seagate Ironwolf, or even repurposed enterprise SSDs for a hybrid tier. It also means the initial out-of-pocket cost is lower, letting you spread the investment over time. The downside is that the price quoted in the Amazon listing can be misleading. You'll need to budget an additional $300, $500 for a decent set of drives if you want a usable storage pool right away. That's a hidden trade-off many first-time buyers overlook when they compare box price to competitors that bundle drives. In practice, the 8GB DDR5 RAM feels generous for most file-serving scenarios. I ran a few tests on a typical home media setup: 4 simultaneous streams of 1080p HD from a Plex server, a nightly backup of 3 laptops running Windows 10, and a SyncThing folder syncing with a remote office. The CPU utilization never spiked past 35%, and the memory usage hovered around 23GB, leaving plenty of headroom. What mattered more was the network configuration. The unit offers a single 2.5GB port, so you'll need a compatible switch, or a 2.5GB Areta router to truly reap the speed benefits. If you're still on a 1GB network, the 10-core label ends up being more of a brag than a benefit. Who should consider buying this? If you're a small business owner who needs a reliable, always-on file server with the ability to grow, the 6bay design is perfect. You can start with 3 drives in RAID 5, keep one as a hot spare, and add a 6th later for cold archives. The powerful moniker is not just marketing fluff. The 10-core processor handles background tasks like snapshots and real-time virus scanning without slowing down user access. For families that have a growing media library and want a central hub for photos, movies, and game backups, the storage capacity and optional SSD caching make the F6424MAX a flexible hub you can upgrade as your needs expand. On the flip side, if you're a hobbyist who only needs a couple of terabytes for occasional backups, a simpler 2bay or 4bay NAS will save you both money and space. The extra cores and DDR5 memory become overkill, and you'll be paying for a platform you'll never fully utilize. Likewise, if your network infrastructure is stuck at 1 GBE, you won't notice the performance uplift that the higher-end CPU could deliver, turning what looks like a premium purchase into a modestly priced, but underused, machine. Now let's address the practical strengths that set the F6424MAX apart from other units in the same price tier. First, the configuration interface is surprisingly intuitive. The web dashboard walks you through drive initialization, RAID selection, and app installation with clear prompts, which is a relief for anyone who isn't a Linux guru. The Areas of Application tab even suggests preset templates for media serving, surveillance storage, or development environments, and automatically pulls in the right Docker images or package bundles. That simplicity saves you from diving into command line configurations that many other NAS devices